Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited. This is Donny, the Foreclosure Deals Coach. And today, as I'm excited about all of our interview shows, okay? But in this show, we're going to be interviewing the CEO of one of the tools I use every single day to do proper deal analysis on my deals. You do not want to miss this episode. It's going to be incredible. Stay tuned. Let's go. Well, hello again, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donny Corum, recording live from our downtown studios. And I am so excited. As you already know, I offer a 5-step process to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip your first deal. Well, there's that figure word in there that a lot of people pass over. Everybody understands locating deals. Most people can go over funding deals, but figuring deals, that part in between, the deal analysis, eludes even the most sophisticated investors. We are happy to have on the show the CEO of DealCheck, who's going to show us how we do deal analysis daily using the DealCheck tool. Without further ado, let's bring him on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Anton Ivanov, the CEO of DealCheck. How's it going, Anton? What's shaking?
I'm doing great, Donny. How are you?
I am so excited. I'm so excited to have you. I know it's tough to get these things scheduled, so really, from the bottom of my heart, my appreciation taking the time out today to address the listeners and talk about deal analysis. Let's kick it with a little bit of mindset on deal analysis. Why do you think deal analysis is so important to people who are looking to do a real estate investment deal? Why is that such a critical element?
Well, Donny, as a real estate investor myself, I don't remember who told me this, but when I was first starting out, I heard this phrase as you make your money in real estate when you buy. And that's sometimes kind of counterintuitive, I guess, especially if you're flipping homes, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to make my money when I sell the property. But really, it's the property analysis piece and understanding what your profit is going to look like up front before you buy your flip, your wholesale, BRRRR rental property, anything. So it's such a crucial stage because there's so many different properties out there. There's so many foreclosed homes. There's so many just homes on the market. Only a small fraction of them is a good investment, is going to be a good flip, and it's even going to make you any money. Most of them you will either lose money, they'll be terrible rentals. So the property analysis comes in to help you weed out those kind of needles in the haystack and really find the properties worth buying and ultimately make money on them, which is why we're all here, investing in real estate.
That's supposed to be the goal, right? We're here to make money,
Absolutely.
not lose money. And I that was pounded in my head as a new investor over and over again by my mentor as well. You make your money when you buy the deal. So obviously,
Yes.
As a guy who started the software to analyze deals, suffice it to say you've done a ton of deals. Can you tell me a little bit about your investing experience, what you have in your portfolio now, or how you've adapted using DealCheck to become so successful?
Yeah, so right now, me and my wife own just over 40 rental properties kind of spread out across a few states. And obviously, it's been kind of about a 10-year journey for us to get here. And we started with just buying, actually the first property we bought was a house hack duplex where we lived in one of the units and rented out the others. We did some turnkey investing out of state, because we were living in California at the time, which was pretty bad market to find good cash flowing properties. And then eventually we graduated, so to speak, to larger multifamily properties, which are now the bulk of our portfolio.
Okay.
I remember when we were first, looking at our first rental, I was totally new to investing. And I think I Googled or something, pulled in some Excel spreadsheet. That was like, hey, like rental analysis calculator, something like that. Maybe it was of bigger pockets, maybe somewhere else. And the more I was using it, when looking on the properties to buy, I was like, man, there's got to be something better out there. It's inefficient. It's kind of clunky. I ended up having like 5 copies of that spreadsheet with, I'd change a formula in one cell in one worksheet. I'd forget to change it in the other. anyway, it just became a mess. I think, it was making me either pass on good deals or look too much at deals that were complete, garbage, because really I was messing up my formulas. I was messing the numbers, and that's actually
Sure.
where the idea for DealCheck was born. I was a software developer kind of by trade. That was my career, and I
Okay.
decided, hey, you know what? Let me see what kind of software platforms are out there, what mobile apps are out there for analyzing properties. And when I didn't really find anything that I liked, I remember building the first kind of version of DealCheck myself. It actually started as a mobile app, and then it grew from there, and more people start using it because, like you said, they see the value in the tool. They incorporate it into their businesses and workflows. And it just kind of clicks with them, like, man, why was I using Excel for all these years?
Yeah, and it is amazing that people try to build something like this that is such an intuitive part of the real estate investing process. To think that you're going to code this into an Excel spreadsheet,
Right.
it's preposterous. If you really give that a lot of thought, right? All the variables, all the formulas that are required, the stuff that you're putting in for the holding costs, right? What with the interest rate calculations, et cetera. You could build all this stuff out, but when you think about the amount of time it would take to do that properly, DealCheck really fills that in. Let me ask you this. As you're building DealCheck as a software developer, did you realize, I guess, at the time, how critical it was to newer real estate investors, or was it more about people who already had the experience? What was your target market for building this? I mean, obviously it was to help yourself,
Right.
but did you envision it becoming this big of a tool for investors to use?
Well, actually, I will say that I remember right from the get-go, almost like the first, few months and years that I worked on DealCheck, and then when we got a few other developers to help us on the tool, one of our main goals and focus was to make it as accessible to new investors as possible. Because I think a big problem with these Excel spreadsheet or a lot of these calculators, they throw a lot of numbers at you. They don't explain a lot of the formulas. They kind of say, well, here's your profit. How it was calculated oftentimes as a black box. There's kind of a million inputs you can change, or sometimes you can't even change anything at all.
Right.
And I think a lot of this can be overwhelming for new investors because they're using a product, again, be it Excel, be it some other software that they don't understand. Meaning that if you ask them, like, well, can you walk me through how this total profit or ROI on a flip was calculated? They'll say, well, I got it out of, XYZ spreadsheet.
That's right. They
But
can't reverse engineer it.
Exactly. They can't. And I think that's a big mistake, because if you don't understand the numbers, if you actually don't understand what they're telling you, how they're calculated, you're
Right.
kind of investing blindly, right?
Yes.
So we wanted to make sure
Yes.
that DealCheck, includes for example, a built-in glossary with every single formula for every metric, every number, every figure is very well defined. You can see the exact formula that it's used to calculate it. And we're actually taking the time to write descriptions of all of these. And we have a blog where we've published pretty long form articles and posts that kind of go over into all of these ratios and metrics in more detail. So for new investors, they're not just taking these numbers at face value. They can actually learn. And we've got tons of feedback from people saying, like, hey, I started using your tool, and like 3 months later, I'm so, much more educated about what these formulas are, what they're telling me, that I can like walk circles over people who've been doing this for, years. And they just say
Amazing.
the cap rate
Amazing.
6%, the cap rate 6%. What does that mean?
Yeah. What?
Like,
Yeah. Right.
they
Right. They
have
just
no
told you it was
idea.
6%. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And now you actually have a reason where those numbers come up. The other thing I love
Yep.
about the DealCheck tool is the comp analysis. Now, obviously, MLS access has always been the queen bee, if you will, of getting the comparable analysis. But a lot of people don't have MLS access. Then you enter Privy, a great deal finding tool that I recommend to my clientele to find deals on the open market.
Right.
But when you go into Privy and try to do the level of deal analysis that we do in DealCheck, it falls short, right? So you really need this other tool to dig deeper. How did you get access to all the sold data? That was something that was really close to the chest for the real estate boards
Yeah.
out there. How are you able to pull that in so accurately with
Yeah,
DealCheck?
so property data has been a kind of a big challenge over the course of the time we've worked on DealCheck. And I know firsthand, it's, if you're building a software or if you're just an investor looking for property data. And it's not just sales comps, it's stuff like just property record data, so you don't have to manually enter kind of the basic square footage and all that stuff. It's
Right.
like owner
That's so
information.
helpful.
Yeah, there's so much data that's kind of put behind this MLS barrier that only agents and brokers have access to. And I've actually, done other shows and podcasts where I've been a big advocate against the MLS. I think it's
Me too.
it's an archaic and frankly outdated system that
Absolutely it is.
I think gates a lot of the property data needlessly. So, long story short, we started by working with some data brokers. These are companies who kind of provide wholesale data access. And over the years, actually, in the last few years, we moved a lot of the data acquisition in-house. And we actually now have a public property data and rental data API, through our other platform called Rentcast, where we allow other developers and other applications to kind of use some of the data that you see in DealCheck and our other software inside their products, because we know how hard it is for developers, for application programmers to obtain this data. So a lot of this comes in-house. Some of this is sourced from kind of your bigger national wholesale data providers. But yeah, that's a big kind of daily task for us, is to make sure property data is accurate. And so you don't have to do a lot of manual data entry. For example, if you're adding a new property to DealCheck, like a flip, all you need is a property address.
Right.
And once you type that in, it will pull, the basic property features like bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, its size, its year built. It will show you valuation estimates. What is the potential ARV? What is the potential rent if this is kind of a rental property or a BRRRR? It'll pull in photos and descriptions. And like you mentioned, there's a whole sales comps module where you can go and see actual sold properties to help you hone in on that ARV value. Yeah, so there's a lot of property data integrations. It took us years to build those out. It was not a trivial task, but
I'm sure not.
we're very happy that we can provide them, especially at the cost that our software costs, which is extremely reasonable compared to brokers and other folks sometimes paying thousands of dollars to access this data.
Absolutely. And being able to organize it in such an efficient manner, right? Getting access is one piece, but then being able to compile it so quickly, like we're doing. I'm going to challenge you today because I want to do a deal analysis with you on the show. I want to walk through and see if we can come up with a comparable analysis. I'm certain you're up to the challenge, but we're going to do one in my market because I want to have some fun with this and see how close we get to my numbers here. But the takeaway is going to be that anybody armed with this data can look into a marketplace, enter an address, and figure out with reasonable certainty what they're going to sell that property for, right?
Exactly.
And that level of analysis was only available at the agent and broker level until, Privy kind of came along and let you found property. But until you're able to compile it at this accuracy, this blows away anything we can do in the MLS. Extreme kudos for just setting this up so well, because you can definitely tell it was thought about by an investor who understood and was able to solve that problem. Well, what's the future of DealCheck? What do you want to see it do? What other add-ons do you think are the big picture vision for this software? Where do you want to take it next?
So we're super open, by the way, to feature suggestions. So I'll kind of say, that a lot of the roadmap elements, a lot of the features that we've added over the years have come directly from my users, feedback. We actually have a backlog that's there's probably a couple hundred different feature suggestions from small to big that people requested over the years. So it's very much it's not like we built it and we just ship it and we forget about it. It's a very evolving product. We constantly release new updates. Again, some are behind the scenes, some are much more visible. So we always encourage users, new users, older existing users who've been with DealCheck for a while, send us your suggestions. There's a little live chat icon at the bottom right of our website, or you can just send us an email. We do see all of these. We do reply to all of them. We are a smaller team, so maybe we won't get to every single feature right away, but eventually, if enough people request it and there's enough interest, we'll get around to it. But as far as like big developments that are coming up for us, I would say the biggest one that we do want to integrate in DealCheck is property search. So kind of like what you mentioned, Privy does. I'm not super familiar with that software, but basically a tool that allows you to just type in a geographical area or a city, and it will actually pull up properties for you. And if we can do that, and especially allow you to filter by investment criteria, so pretty much you're looking at, I don't know, Colorado, Denver market, and say, hey, show me all single family homes that are potential flips that will make me a profit of over, I don't know, 20,000 or something like that, or
Sure.
potential rental properties with a cash flow of over $200 a month, and actually show you the specific properties that, on a kind of a surface level, at least, that we can tell will fit this criteria. I think that's going to be a huge development. I've never seen,
Wow.
you can go on Zillow and actually just search for, 2-bedroom houses, and you'll see everything for sale. But for an investor, that's a good start, but then you have to actually analyze them, and out of 100 properties that are listed, maybe only a handful will actually meet what you're looking for. But to have a property search tool that allows you to use investment criteria that's very specific to you to find properties, I think that's going to be huge for the investor and kind of the software market. So it's a big undertaking. I can't promise when we will deliver, but that's definitely on our radar.
I love that.
We want to build something.
Super
like
excited about that. Well, what do you? I mean, obviously, your price point, and and we're offering a great deal with the affiliate link. Please, guys, if you're going to sign up for DealCheck, please use the affiliate link or use the code DEAL to get signed up for that. But what your price point is ludicrously low. I mean, you're aware of that, right? I mean, I'm not complaining. I pay for it annually, but you're aware that you're way lower than the rest of the marketplace. As you do these add-ons, obviously, I'm not asking you to increase your price, but there's enough value room there as you do these things. As people understand the power of investing in this tool because of the deals that they're going to do, what are you hoping? What's the ideal target client going to gain from buying DealCheck? What do you think the big takeaway is?
Well, you were talking about pricing, and I'll kind of mention why our pricing is so low. And I don't know if we have my screen pulled up. I have our pricing pulled up right now. There is a free plan. There's a 100% free plan. It's not a free trial. It's not like, hey, use it for 14 days and then it locks you out. No, there's actually a free plan that a lot of investors start with. And again, we did this on purpose because we want to make this tool accessible to newer investors. And I know a lot of these folks, they don't have a lot of capital. They're maybe looking to real estate to improve their financial situation. So they're just not in a position to dish out hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands, for a software that they don't even understand the value of. So we have a free plan, and our premium plans are geared towards more experienced, I would say, investors that are maybe analyzing a lot of more deals on a weekly or monthly basis. They're looking for some more advanced features like branded reports and maybe more in-depth comp analysis where you can, check and uncheck which comps are selected, upload your own comp. So there's a few features that I think are valuable on both of our Plus and Pro plans. But again, even the pricing of those is like less than what you will pay for lunch a month.
It's nuts.
And we have done this on purpose. And again, it is because we want to make this tool accessible. We're not trying to just have a handful of enterprise clients like the big companies that can't pay hundreds or thousands of dollars a month. No, we have been successful, and we have grown to over 300,000 now plus users, active users of our software because I think our pricing is so cheap. And, we have slightly bumped it up over the years, to keep up with inflation and some new features we add, and that may continue in the future, but we are committed to keeping our prices low, very accessible, and we'll always have that free plan, that you can start with. And for some investors that are just starting out doing a few deals a month, that may be just fine. And then, if you need to upgrade later, you can. And I will mention that I think we do have a special code specifically for your members and viewers, which is DEAL, very simple. So if you punch in the code DEAL when kind of upgrading to one of our premium plans, you will get a 20% off for forever for the whole duration of your subscription. So that's just something we set up specifically for you guys.
Well, thank you so much for that. My clients really appreciate that. My listeners really appreciate that. Guys, this tool has been revolutionary, but don't take my word for it. I'm going to put Anton to the test here. We're going to do a deal analysis on a property in a market he's never been to. You haven't been to Colorado Springs anytime recently, have you?
No, I've heard it's a nice place, though.
I mean, I would argue that. I mean, we tend to like it. But I'd like you to take a quick look at a property. I'm going to give you an address, and we're going to go through the process of doing a quick analysis on this. Now, I have a number in mind on this property as to what I think it's going to retail for, okay? And I'm going to and I'm going to have you do a deal analysis. We'll see how close you get based on the analysis that I'm doing. So I'm in the local market. You're completely outside using this outside tool. Let's see how close we get to coming up with the same result. Now, the property I want to use is 2338 North Circle Drive in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
2338 North Circle Drive, Colorado Springs, 80909 zip code.
That's correct. That's the one.
So again, it doesn't look like we have too much data on that property. Donnie, you're putting me in a bad spot.
You get one we didn't have?
Let's try another one.
That's all right. I got a second one.
Okay.
And again, it's an AI, guys, so it's not going to nail every property. That's
no. I mean, there's millions and millions of them.
Right.
So
it's impossible to get all of them. But let's try a second one. Hold on, I'm filtering through Privy right now. So this is completely unstated, guys. I want you to know that, in real time, I want to see how an investor who's just walking into a market can quickly find a property and then do an analysis that's sendable to a lender in record time. So I'm looking now. I'm going to try to find something a little less expensive in my Colorado Springs market, see what comes back here. And obviously, I got to be able to run the comps. And generally speaking, if you give me a neighborhood, I can tell you what a house is going to go for in my neighborhood because I grew up here. So this is my thing. But let's try 816 Prospect Lake Drive.
816 Prospect Lake Drive. Okay, so that one does come up, and again, I am kind of doing this live on our DealCheck app. Again, not 100% sure if my screen is coming through, but so the first thing you do when you add a property, I'll just mention a few key points of kind of DealCheck analysis. That I think is very powerful, especially for analyzing flips. When you first add a property, the first thing you can do is select the template. So what a template allows you to do is, instead of entering all of your rehab costs, all of your holding costs, all of your typical selling costs, or your typical financing every single time, which a lot of software platforms and maybe even Excel force you to do. With DealCheck, you can actually create as many as you want little templates with your preset settings. Maybe you have one with hard money lender number 1, you have a fallback lender, you can save all of their settings, including all your typical rehab costs. You can say, hey, I have a little template where I do a light cosmetic rehab. Maybe this is just my standard, go in there, put in less than $10,000, just freshen the place up, we can flip it. Or you may have a more tear down, where you go in and gut out all the bathrooms and the kitchen, replace pretty much everything down to studs. You can enter all of your costs and the cost quantity and the cost, the item costs in there. And then when you're adding new properties, like we're doing now, all you have to do is just select one of these templates, search for the property, import it, and all of that information, your financing, your holding costs, your selling costs, will get automatically added. So again, you don't have to do that every time.
Huge time saver.
Yeah. So then you punch in an address. As you can see, we put in 816 Prospect Lake Drive. And like I was saying, we pull in a lot of the property data automatically. So this is a house. It looks like 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And again, Donnie's probably out there verifying all the information, about 1,100 square feet, built in 1959, updated in 1962. Not going to go through all of the information, but you can actually see where all of this data, tax assessment, what was its last assessed value of improvements of land, what is its current tax, property insurance. Again, maybe not something you're super important for you when you're flipping the home, but if it's a rental property, obviously you'll be paying taxes every single year. It is much more becomes much more valuable for you to have accurate numbers and estimates without having to look them up in property records and all of that. So then you see some photos, looks like this property is being sold on auction. You can import this and then double check them to see, hey, how, what's the condition of the property. You can see this is an active listing. So we actually pull in the listing information. It's currently selling for $179,000. Does that sound about right, Donnie?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So it was listed on 16th of June. So we pull in all this information. There's even a listing agent that you can contact. So as much data, again, as we saw with that first little property that Donnie gave me, it's not always available. It's not perfect, especially if these are off market or auction deals. Sometimes this information doesn't circulate too much, through the data sources that we kind of scan. But by kind of doing our best and pulling a lot of data from a lot of property databases, we should have coverage for like pretty much 99% of property. So boom, we added the property. Again, the next thing that you would typically do, and I know Donnie's like really looking for the ARV value from me, but I'm purposely delaying
Take your time, please.
to show some other stuff. So again, the purchase worksheet, as we call it, that's kind of like where you enter all of the information for this property. As you can see, it was pre-filled with what we just saw in the public records. And also, if you selected a template, this is where all that information would come in from there as well. So depending on what you're financing using, you would customize your loan terms from your hard money or private money or whatever lender. You can put in multiple loans because we support a lot of different creative financing strategies. Maybe you have, one lender providing kind of your main capital for the rehab, another lender providing some of the purchase price financing. All of those inputs are for you right there. I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Again, your purchase or closing costs, your rehab costs, obviously that's a big one for flips. We provide a kind of a worksheet that allows you to create pretty detailed scope of work estimates. You can put in just a rough amount if you think that you're pretty confident and say, hey, this is going to need $10,000 of rehab. Or we allow you to itemize it down to absolutely every single cost. Whether this is like a per item where how much one item costs and how many items you'll need, or per square foot cost for stuff like flooring, for example, or paint or other size related items. So you can really dig into this, understand what your costs are, see a total, again, helping you, the more input and kind of the more obviously accurate numbers you input here, the more accurate your profit projections are going to be. Again, your holding costs, this will vary based on, various factors, like maybe you have some utility costs or dumpster rental or stuff like that. So you can enter all those here. And then your disposition or selling costs, your agent commission, if you're going to use an agent, your staging costs, home warranty, title insurance, stuff like that. So after you customize all of this, you can head over to the sales comps and ARV page. And that's kind of what Donnie here was looking for. And again, this page, what you will see first is a list of comps. So these are actual sold properties that were sold within the vicinity. We use kind of our own correlation algorithm that looks at a bunch of sold houses, tries to find the most similar ones to your subject property, and shows you a whole list. You can actually click on each one of them and then see additional details for every house. So if you kind of want to really dig into and customize your comps, like, hey, is this really a good comparable, or maybe this property is a little bigger, a little smaller, you can actually see all of the pictures for that property. So like, for example, this one looks like it was pretty freshly rehabbed, which is good for us. If we're flipping and if we're doing about the same type of rehab work, then we know like this is probably a good comp. And you can actually check or uncheck these, as you can see right here. So if you do find a comp is not that good, or if you maybe have your own, you can upload them here to help you comp the property better. And then you will see these numbers up top updated in real time. And there's a few different numbers here. Some investors, sometimes get confused. There's a DealCheck estimate, which is kind of our own formula that we use. It's fully automated. It's based on the sold properties nearby. This one's showing 338,000. Again, if you want to just use one number without, kind of digging into it, that is the number we usually recommend. And then there's kind of other estimates that are more based on your customized comp. So for example, if you uncheck a bunch of them, these will update, those are coming in about the same, around 330, 340,000 looks like for this one. And you see average sale price, sale price per square foot. So in this case, all of those three numbers are pretty close together, which to me, if I was, looking in this flip or an investment property, I would say probably around, 330,000 mark, maybe somewhere around there will be a good estimate for this property. And again, these are estimates. We try to do our best. And Donnie's probably going to tell me how close we are. But we always encourage investors to look through the comps, add your own, deselect the ones that you feel don't apply. And if you do have market knowledge, obviously that's a big, factor that you can use as well to adjust it. Maybe that, hey, this property, and by the way, we show a full map of it, right? So you can kind of see where the actual property located. Looks like this one is near Memorial Park. Again, not sure, if that's a really good area, because I'm not familiar with this market, but to me, proximity to a park or a lake could potentially drive the property value a little bit higher, especially if you're selling to homeowners kind of looking for those amenities. So you can adjust the ARV higher or lower, update it right here, and off you go.
That was amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. Thank you for that. That's just incredible. And I have to say, I know it's real easy for me just to agree with Anton, but dead serious, guys. I would have priced this property between 330 and 350, and DealCheck came up with 338 as the ARV. So again, this is an artificial intelligence combined with adding some general market knowledge, or how the real estate market operates, from somebody who's never stepped foot in the market, figuring out what that property could retail for, never having arrived here, right?
Exactly.
Should we do that on Zillow? Do you think would you trust Zillow to do what we just did, Anton?
No. And we don't, we don't use estimates, and they get a bad rap. And I don't want to, speak bad about other companies. I think valuing properties automatically, like we do, coming up with this 338,000 figure, it is a very complex, system. It is not trivial. And I'm sure DealCheck, will make mistakes occasionally, especially if there's very specific, I've seen it where it might be like block by block, and without knowing that information, you can run into a little bit of trouble. So we always encourage you to verify and obviously have some market knowledge, but we think we're in a great place, to give you a very good starting point. Sometimes it's dead on, like we just seen on this property. Amazing. Sometimes it'll be pretty close. We encourage you to use this tool, understand the knowledge, go to the property analysis after you have that ARV and rehab, look at your final sale and profit figures, your ROI and stuff like that. And make adjustments. And that's why we wanted, this worksheet that I went over earlier is so customizable. You can drill in down to, every single item on each closing cost, each purchase cost. Whether every investor has to do that, probably not. But if you're serious, you're analytical by nature, for example, like me, and you want to do that, we provide you with the tools. But if you're a new investor, you want to just get a quick ARV of the property, just punch in, use a few defaults that we provide. As you just saw, we did with Donny, it's pretty quick, to get in a very good, accurate place of, hey, is this flip, going to work out for me? It looks like about 116,000. Again, this is without customizing rehab costs much. So probably it'll be a little bit less, but we're probably looking somewhere around like 60, 80,000, depending on the scope of the rehab. So this could be a good deal and worth for you looking further. And as a quick analysis, a quick decision-making tool, I think DealCheck works really well in a lot of different markets.
That was incredible. You nailed the mark on that. And when you said analytical by nature, I immediately thought of the rap group Naughty by Nature. So I'm thinking like a whole rap shirt, like analytical by nature. Okay. Probably not near as cool, but we're going to see if we create something on that, analytical by nature, because you're clearly you're a data junkie, right? I mean, you're aware of that about yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And if you're a data junkie, you need a tool that can help you to analyze data faster, because that's how you make money in real estate investing. And that's obviously how you're able to build a portfolio of 40 rental properties, because I can tell you're passionate for this and your ability to put it together. You know the future roadmap of the application. You know how many people you can serve with this app. What else do you want to tell the people out there considering getting DealCheck as a software? And then how do you feel about coaching in general, getting help when you're first getting started out in
so we've kind of done a good demo. I'll just mention again, if you'd like to try DealCheck yourself, you can head over to dealcheck.io. That's our website that we've seen. You can use it online through the browser on any laptop or desktop computer, nothing you need to download. And then we also have a great iOS and Android app. This is really popular with investors who are often on the road, driving around, you're doing open houses, traveling, and all of the features that we just kind of looked at, all of the little settings, comps, ARV estimates, that's all on the mobile app. So it's not like a scaled down version.
Amazing.
It's a full version. Powerful. Yeah, all the data will sync, so you can kind of start on your mobile app, come home later, pop your computer open, come back to the website. That same, Prospect Lake property will be there that you started analyzing. So yeah, you can start for free. We already kind of mentioned pricing. I would encourage everybody just start on the free plan. And if you'd like to upgrade later, don't forget that deal promo code that we provide specifically for you guys on the show. And yeah, coaching, I personally don't do coaching myself. I'm not sure if that's where you were going or not. I think coaching, is a great way to start with real estate. I had a few mentors when I was first starting out that, I think real estate is just, there's so many things that can go wrong necessarily, but just so many things you got to keep track of, so many moving parts, so many little different bits of knowledge. So if you're the type of person that's like, hey, I'm just going to truck it, figure it out, hunker down for months, read a bunch of books, like great. But if you're the type of person, you're more maybe kind of hands-on learning, you like other people to show you and explain stuff like that, I think coaching can be a great way to start if you find a great coach like Donny, obviously. Listen to his programs, listen to his courses, his platforms. I will, though, say one thing that I've seen over and over again, and that's that whole like analysis paralysis and making your first move. You can listen to endless podcasts, endless videos, read hundreds of books, but at some point you're going to have to make that first step.
That's right.
And in real estate, yep, it is buying that first property. So don't, if it's been a year, I would say, or maybe even more, that you've been looking this actively, researching, and you still haven't entered the market, haven't done anything, I would say, hey, maybe it's time to reassess and actually say, I'm just getting older and these good properties are passing me by. So let me download DealCheck. Let me pop it in the browser and let me get serious about buying my first property.
And get the hand holding that you need. Once you have the right tool set, if that's what only thing holding you back is you need that hand holding, that's where what I offer comes into place. And I'm already making introductions, Anton, to my clientele about this product and how important it is.
I appreciate that.
Great things once you learn this and you're working out, you've got the coaching, you've got the deal analysis tools, you're going to be a professional investor in no time at all.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you just need the right tools. The mindset, tactics, and tools are what's stopping most people.
And I can tell Donny's super motivated, so you'll also get that motivation.
100%. I'm all over it, man. Hey, Anton, great show. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up today about DealCheck, about real estate investing, about life in general? Any other nuggets of wisdom today?
No, I think we're really good on DealCheck. I think I get a great overview, and sounds like you'll be showcasing it more to your students in future coaching sessions. So I'm very happy to hear that. I guess for nuggets of wisdom, I will say just one last thing that I learned. When people ask me like, would I do anything different if I went back? Like, would I start buying larger multifamilies, doing bigger projects if I knew what I know now? And the answer is no. And the reason for that is because you didn't know, back then what you know now. You were not as experienced. So don't ever be afraid to start small. That's what I tell all investors. Don't be afraid to just go. You found a little property, it's foreclosure for $50,000, a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath flip, maybe doesn't need a lot of work, just kind of was neglected. Don't be afraid to start with that. You're seeing these people flip multi-million-dollar homes in LA or something like that. You're seeing rental investors buying 15, 20 unit apartment complexes, like great on them. But I guarantee you they didn't start buying those types of properties.
Gotta start somewhere.
Exactly. They started small. They learned along the way. They became more experienced, and they gradually transitioned into bigger projects if that's what they were looking for. So don't be afraid. Anybody telling you that this deal is too small, this profit is too small, you will learn so much just from doing your first deal than you did from, books and whatever shows. So go out and get it.
Great advice, man. Thank you for that. People really need to hear that. Here's a guy who's got the experience, so much experience. He went out and built his own software to assist real estate investors get started doing their first deal and be able to analyze deals on the fly from the field with top-notch data. Anton, you're my hero, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Donny.
Thanks for everything. We would love to have you on the show again sometime as a soft adult. Will you be willing to come back sometime?
I would absolutely. Had a great time today.
Love it, sir. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate it. Guys, that's going to wrap up our show for today. I am so excited about implementing DealCheck into the coaching program and helping people just like you to get your first deal done with powerful software analytical tools like DealCheck. This is just the beginning. We got a lot coming at you. This has been a great show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please slam that subscribe channel on YouTube, making sure you stay tuned to everything that we release here on the podcast podcast, on YouTube, wherever you consume your content. And with that, this is Donny Corum, your foreclosure deals coach, thanking you so much for tuning in and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.